Hello ladies and gentlemen, it is your Maker 2199 bringing you guys another commentary. Now this one I am going to do it a little bit differently, and that is just because of something that I've done recently that I would like to share with some of you guys, and hopefully it'll be helpful for you or some of you guys in the future, or maybe not the too far or the too distant future, I guess. But one of the things that I've been doing right now since I was out of college was applying for jobs and seeing what I was able to get. And thankfully, I got an offer that I'm gonna be taking for now. And I'm gonna be working in this place. And I don't really want to say where or anything like that, but I'm gonna be working for now. And it's not what I was expecting at first, but it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a fun environment. I think I'm gonna have fun working here, so I don't think it's gonna be something that I'm gonna mind too much, and I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. As of right now, when I'm recording this commentary, I haven't still started, but hopefully by the time that it comes out, I already started working there, and I'm starting to get into the groove of things. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about, because I have I've had a good amount of jobs, and I've had a good amount of jobs to be able to put on my resume. But one of the things that I want to talk about is the interview process, or things to do or maybe not to do on an interview. So people always overcomplicate everything. It doesn't matter what it is. People like to think way too ahead of anything, and they overcomplicate the entire process, and it shouldn't be like that. I've only been in two instances where I went to an interview and didn't get a job, and it wasn't because I wasn't qualified or because I didn't do a good interview. It was because there was something stupid that disqualified me, and it was nothing to do with me personally. Like, I did something stupid. It was more than anything like the system. So one of the interviews that I didn't get, to give you guys an example, was a part-time job, and it's really like a starting position and stuff like that. And at the time I didn't mind taking it because I would rather work somewhere than work nowhere. I don't get the mentality of people that graduate and they spend all their lives not working because they never got the job that they wanted. I'm like, bitch, you gotta have some experience first, and you gotta have a resume. You need to build that career before you can start doing all of these crazy ass demands. So I don't really understand people that just because they got the diploma, they feel entitled to something. Like, bitch, nobody is entitled to anything. You work hard for everything, and that's how you earn, what you have. And it doesn't matter how many stones you flipped, you turned, you've picked up and done and all of that. You still have to continue to go and pick up stones and do all of that to continue to go on forth. The process never stops. It gets easier with time because you get more experience, you're wiser and all of that, but it never stops. It's a continuous process, so get that in your heads early, really early. Don't feel entitled to anything. Don't feel that because I did this, they owe me this. And right here we're seeing a bit of lag. There's gonna be a bit of lag on some of these gameplays, and you guys already know that it's my adapter thing not working for the wireless, but what can we do? It's still a game. It was pretty entertaining. I think you guys are gonna like it, so keep tuned. So I went to this part-time job, and it was only like 19 hours, and the guy was worried that I wasn't gonna last long because I already had my diploma. And he's like, more than likely it's only 19 hours, it's minimum wage, and more than likely you're gonna be still looking for another job. And I was like, not really. Like, I wouldn't be looking for another job right away. I'm not that big of a dick. Like, if you hire me and you give me an opportunity, I'll work with you for a few months or a year and stuff like that. And if I haven't been able to move within the company, then yeah, I might be looking for something else, beyond the year or close to a year. But because that's what the starting positions are there for. They're just for you to start and learn the process, and then you move on from there. So that's what I told the guy, but he still told me that he thought that I was really, that my future there on the company was gonna be really, really, unpredictable, so he couldn't hire me for that reason. But he told me that I was a really good candidate, and he would have hired me right there on the spot if it wasn't for him thinking that I might have not been reliable, I guess. So there was nothing that I really could have done, and at the end of the day, I didn't feel too bummed out because I knew that it wasn't gonna be that great of a job or anything like that. But like I said, I would have rather had a job than had nothing. And there I shot him, but I'm guessing it's just part of the lag because I don't know how I didn't like headshot him or whatever. And yeah, oh well, it's how I have to play Gears apparently, because this freaking Xbox is trash. But we'll get it fixed hopefully eventually here. So the other interview that I had done, it was for school, and I didn't have work study at that moment. And right there, the redemption, that's the only headshot I think I got, but the redemption felt so sweet right there. I really cannot express how satisfied that was to be able to get that freaking guy back like that. It was really awesome. So I was in school, I didn't have any work study stuff during the moment, so I went to an interview. They were gonna hire me, and because my work study stuff didn't go through and I wasn't approved for it because I wasn't a full-time student, and apparently you need to be a full-time student to be able to get work study. And I thought I was a full-time student, but apparently not. I was a part-time student, and I was a little bummed out because one of my advisors had told me that I would have been considered a full-time student. I was like, so I could get work study technically, and she was like, yeah. So I took apparently few classes, and I didn't learn that till I applied to a job and I was about to get hired, and the papers didn't go through on the work study office, so I couldn't do anything about that. And those are the only two instances where I have not been hired basically right there on the spot or what have you. Every other job that I've applied to, hired right on the spot. No ifs, ands, or buts. And I don't know if it's just me having good tips for doing interviews or what, but maybe it is, maybe it isn't. And like I always say, always do your homework, but don't overcomplicate it. I've seen a lot of people overcomplicate the process. It's really not that difficult, and it should not be an experience that should stress you out. It really shouldn't, because they're gonna ask you some basic questions. And I just went to an interview right now, and I've had more than one interview for this company, so I think that's good news, because I think they might be, hopefully considering me. It's a startup business, and I think they're gonna be careful on who they hire and why. So I think that was the purpose of more than one interview, and I was offered a position and all of that, and I'm hoping to be able to grow and stuff like that within the company. And like I said, it's not what I would have gotten on some of the other jobs that I applied, but then I would have also needed a lot more experience than what I have for some of those other jobs. So this job will give me the experience, and it's gonna give me my highest pay as of yet. But it's nothing like too spectacular or anything like that, but I think it's gonna be fun, and that's the biggest thing for me, to get experience, hopefully a chance to move up and advance in my career and have fun along the way. Why not? I'll take that over a higher paying job and working at something that I'm gonna just fucking hate working at any time or any year. So yeah, it's about you being happy and your satisfaction, and for right now I think I'm pretty happy with this decision that I've taken here, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I hope that on a few months I'm not coming with regrets or anything like that, saying like I shouldn't have taken this. I really doubt that, but we'll see what happens. I think it's gonna be pretty good. So I did the interviews, and the people that interviewed me seemed pretty impressed, and they got me. I got an offer. I don't know how many other people got an offer or what the deal is, but at the end of the day, all I care is that I was offered a job. I already took it, and I'm gonna start working shortly. So some of the tips that I want to share, some of the things that I've seen and or read about, and some of these go way too far. So one of the classic interview questions, and if you guys have never been in an interview, the really first thing to do is, once you get called for an interview, research the company. Even if you're just being called to be like the janitor or whatever, research the company. You want to know what they do, how they do stuff, and know a little bit about the history. I usually like going to their webpage, reading the history, reading some of their other things of operations, maybe a few articles on them, and then getting a feel of what they are, what they do, and what they expect. So when the interview process comes in, you go into the room, you go into the interview, and one of the really first things that they're gonna tell you while they're getting everything sorted together is, tell me about yourself. Now, the biggest mistake that I see people do, and people get impressed, like this guy comes in and says, well, I work for this place, I work for that place, I've done this, I've done that, and I'll be a good fit here. And they never say, they never said that they're gonna be a good fit here. They just brag about everything that they've done. So they start since they were in high school or young, I accomplished this, I accomplished that. And a lot of that is just gibberish. They don't really care. So the best way to do it is you do your research, you find out what they're looking for, and then you get those qualities of you that are going to help them understand why you are qualified for that position. So let's say that they need somebody that is a good communicator or something like that, or somebody that can sell. Then you would say, well, I've worked at sales, I've accomplished this, I've been able to, always meet my quotas and all of that. And I got employee of the month here, or I was recognized for this thing. Now they're interested because you apply for sales positions with them and they're being impressed. Because they're like, this is the guy for the job. But if you just go in and say, oh, well, I played sports, I was the varsity player, I was this, they don't give a fuck. And that is just the truth. That is the truth. They don't really give a fuck about any of that. It's nice that you did that, don't get me wrong, but how does that help you sell more product? How does that help my company come up? So the mentality that you always have to have when doing this is, how do I help the company? Is not how does the company help me? And it's like John F. Kennedy said, don't think of what the country can do for you, think of what you can do for your country. And it's absolutely true. I get tired of all of these people that want handouts. Don't ask for a handout. There's no such thing in life. So, stop waiting for one. Go do what you gotta do. And, earn your living and earn your keep and all of that. So, when you go into a company, don't be so arrogant and think that, oh, wow, they're gonna hire me because of all of my accomplishments. And how much are you going to pay me? And what are you doing for me? In order for me to put X amount of effort, those people that are that arrogant, they're the first ones out right away because they're the worst and crappiest employees. They're like, I'll put 60% effort, I'll let somebody else put 100, and I'll only put 60 because I'm worth that much or I'm that valuable. And at the end of the day, that ain't true. When everything goes to crap, the economy goes down or whatever, you're the first one out of there. So I don't know why people get this sense of entitlement. You're not entitled to anything, and it doesn't matter how hard you work. Every day is a new day. Every year is a new year. Every new promotion is a different job, and you gotta earn it every single time. Just keep that in your head. That is the way you're gonna go up the fastest. If you have this mentality of, oh, I already did this, oh, I already earned it, I already paid enough, I did this when I was young, I did this 10 years ago for the company, I don't have to do this anymore, then you might start slipping. So always keep that aggressive mentality and go for it and see how much differently your life will be. And that guy just really trolled the other opponent, didn't he? But yeah, so I went in, and when they asked me, what do you bring into the company, I saw a few accomplishments that I had, and I went right to those. And I already knew how that was going to help out the business, so I went straight into it. I went and I said, I did X, and I know you guys do this, so it's a good fit. And you don't have to tell them, that you guys do this, so this is a good fit for this reason. They already know. That's what they're looking out for. So you can just tell them, I did X, this is what I'm able to do well, and I got the things to prove it. They're impressed. Then they'll start telling you a little bit more, like, tell me what experience you have, or how can you fit on this position. And then again, you want to keep it short. You do not want to go too long, and you want to keep it right to the point. So you go in and you tell them, so I worked at this company, I did this, I have this experience, I've also done whatever else which is extra, which is always helpful. But always keep it short. Always keep it simple. Like, one of the jobs that I worked was in IT. I used to fix computers for the university. It was a work study when I first started, and that's one of the things that I usually tell people. So when you really need to be able to problem solve, to fix a computer, diagnose and stuff like that. So when I go in and they ask me, and it's a position that needs for you to use your brain and diagnose situations and all of that, I always go back to my IT background, and I tell them, oh, I used to work in IT and I used to have to do this, diagnose computers, do all of this stuff, and they already know what you're talking about. They know, and they can see that you got the experience that you need for the position, or maybe not direct experience, but you've already dealt with stuff similar, and you're not gonna be a difficult, employee to get in and get the groove of the business. So always try to have experience, try to build that portfolio of experience for your career to go forth, but never brag about something. There's a lot of other businesses or working experience that I have that I don't usually talk to on every interview or stuff like that, and it's because it's not relevant, so I just keep it out of it. You don't have to brag about anything. I don't say, oh, when I was in school I was a straight A student, I had all of this, because they really don't care. For the position that I applied to, they could have cared less. So I keep it as short as I can, and I keep it right down to the point and all of that. So that's my biggest tip of advice for you guys that are coming into interviews and all of that. 2, always be confident. Always look at people in the eye when you're talking to them. Be confident, don't wander. Even if they're wandering or maybe they're stumbling on stuff, you always gotta be confident in anything you say. Don't lie, because if you get 2 interviews, 3 interviews, they already took notes on what you said, and they're gonna be able to tell any fluctuation. So never lie about what you said. Always remember what you say. Be confident on what you've done, and that's just the best way to do it. Nobody will think that you were lying to them. Nobody will think none of that, because you weren't. And I've seen a lot of people that they come in, they lie, and then they go for another interview, they forgot what they said. They don't think that these people took notes, and they do. They come in for a second interview, they say something completely the opposite, and then they're asked, oh, last time you said this, and they don't even remember. They're like, did I thought I said this other thing, and I'm like, done. You're not getting the job. It's that easy and fast, and it's a little disappointing to see. But that guy was a little too slow on that one with those needs. But yeah, I never do anything like that. I've seen it happen. I've seen it firsthand, and it's really, really dumb. And never try to brag way too much. So one of the things that I was also asked, because this is a position where you need to sell and stuff like that, so you got to be quite comfortable selling to people. So I was told to sell somebody a product. So I took a different approach, and I saw a lot of people doing this other thing, and people were impressed. But from my experience, I've noticed that this doesn't work. So this is going to be a really big tip for you guys that are going into business or whatever, sales. This is something that I've learned, and this is how I've been able to outwork others. So, and it's free for you guys here. So if you kept up this long, you guys are getting a really good tip, in my opinion, for free and all of that. That hopefully, if you're ever in that circumstance, it might work for you guys. So one, you got to understand your customer, and you do that by asking a few questions. When you're asking questions and stuff like that, you get a feel for the customer. But I don't like pushing product on a person right on their face. Usually people will notice, and people are defensive of that. People already know, whoa, last time I came, this guy pushed so much product, I wasted so much money, I don't want to do that this time, so I'm only coming in for this, and that's it. And when you're on sales, your job is to push sales, but it's the way that you do it. It's the psychology, I guess, or sociology around how you do stuff. So I see a lot of people that come in and they're like, this is a better product than the other one, or you'll get more, whatever with this because of X amount of reasons. And right there, once you start saying those sorts of words, these people already know that you're trying to push a product to them. Like when you go and buy a car, brand new car, and this guy's like, well, this other car has GPS, and this, they're doing it the wrong way. And that's the way that you're usually taught in industry. And just through all of because I've always been such a nerd, and I did really a ton of research. I took a lot of sociology and all of that, so I understand a bit of people, how they work and stuff like that. So I developed my own methods, put them into practice, and they work. So the thing that I found out that works the most is emotion. People will spend all types of money and any types of money when their emotions are involved. And that doesn't mean that I'm trying to manipulate them or anything like that. You know, I'm a fair person and I'm trying to give them what they want. So one of the first things that I want to know is their budget. And because I don't want to try to sell somebody something that they can't afford or something that's way too expensive for them and make their experiences unpleasant. I want them to come back, enjoy their experiences, be able to come back and, you know, just keep that, you know, customer employee relationship going on and doing good for the company. You know, that's always what's best. So I usually like to work on things that I'm passionate about, and if I'm not passionate about something, I try my best to research products and find something that they do that I might be passionate about, that might help me, you know, be able to, you know, go through the process a lot better. So let me give you guys an example, and this is just an example, so don't say like, oh, I've done this or whatever. So let's say that I'm working on something that I'm really passionate about, cars. I love cars, I love working on cars. I'm not a mechanic, but I'm the household mechanic here for my family and all of that. I always have it fixed almost about everything on the cars. It's rare when we take our cars to a mechanic because there's nothing that I have not been able to learn how to fix and or do as of yet. But I'm sure there's a few jobs like swapping a motor and stuff like that. I don't have the what's it called, the tools to be able to do something like that. So if it came to that, maybe I would have to take it to a mechanic, and it's not because I don't know how it's done. It's just because I don't have the proper tools. And would I really want to spend so much money on them tools for one-time job or something like that? I don't know. So in instances like that, maybe a mechanic would come in handy. But for quite the amount of years we have not been to the mechanic, and that's me working on everything. So if I want to sell a customization part or something to somebody, I would let my passion of cars flow through. You know, I wouldn't just come into the product or anything like that, because the people that are coming here, you know, this is their hard-earned money, and they're also passionate about what they're doing. So I'm trying to get a feel of what they're after. Let's say that they're buying a muffler and they want it to be, do they want it loud, do they not want it to be loud, you know, what do they want? Do they want to have control over the noise it makes, be able to silence it or not, and that sort of stuff. And if so, you know, once you start getting that into the equation, you start realizing which products you have on hand that you can sell them, and or which products you could order to sell them, and you just let your passion come through. People will see it and they'll get the best product. They'll be really satisfied with their purchases, and if ever they need to buy another muffler or anything like that, they're coming straight to that company, straight to you first, you know, because you shared that. And I never like to just push a product like that, and I like to educate, you know, the customer like this, what you're describing, this is going to be the best fit for what you want. And you know, that's why you gotta know some of the products that you're selling. You cannot know absolutely everything about everything, but you gotta know a few of them to be able to, you know, help out your customers and all of that. So that's the way that I would approach it. I would start asking, you know, why do you want the muffler? How much noise are you looking to make? You know, what's the sound that you want it to make? Do you want it high pitch, you know, a deep throat or whatever, or a deep roar, and all of that? So you start thinking, you start getting some information, and you start seeing which products caters best to your customer, and then you make a few suggestions. You tell them this one is closer to what you want and it does this, but we other have these other alternatives, and you know, they're gonna come in, and as long as you share that passion, you share what they want, it's gonna be good. But the biggest mistake that I see people is like, people come in, and I've seen it happen here in a lot of businesses. Like, I've gone in and the guy's like, how much money do you have? Like, you're looking at a muffler, the guy is so expensive, you're leaving. So the manager or the owner comes up to you and like, how much money do you have? And I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like, I wanted to purchase this, it's not accessible, you know, at the price point. It's not that I can't purchase it, it's that I'm not willing to spend that much money on it. I've seen it cheaper elsewhere, and they're like, well, let's say that you have $100. Do you have $100? And I'm like, I have a lot more than $100 to spend on this thing. and they're like, well, let's say you have $100, I'll sell you this other thing, and it's the crappy, because I already did the research on what I wanted to buy in the alternatives, and it's the crappiest thing that you can buy for the money, and you know that that thing is even way cheaper on eBay. It's like an eBay muffler, and it's $20, and he's trying to sell it to you for 100. Never ever do that sort of bullshit. It'll, like, you will go bankrupt fast. It'll fuck up your business. You are not going to have happy customers. People are going to come and make your life a living hell, because that's what you did to them. And I've seen a lot of people do that, and they get satisfaction out of doing it, and I don't understand it. And they think that, oh, I'm the great salesman, I can sell anything, I can fucking sell a used candle, whatever. And I'm like, maybe you could, but don't be so arrogant, my friend, because you know, you mess with the wrong person, you'll be the first guy that has a black eye, or even worse, you know. So I don't know, I don't understand why people would, you know, just ruin somebody else's day like that. So have a passion, you know, and if you're not passionate about what you're doing, then, you know, maybe it's time for you to look for opportunities elsewhere. Because I don't know why people stay unhappy at a certain situation for too long, when there is so many opportunities out there and things that you can do that will, you know, best fit, or a best fit for you. So yeah, you know, just keep that in mind. I always let passion come through, then I make suggestions. And if budget and all of that is a problem, then I'll tell them what they can do. And if our company unfortunately isn't their best solution, you just have to take the loss. You know, you just have to tell them, you know, you could actually get this cheaper online, and it'll be the same thing, and you just, you know, you figure it out on your own after that, like you were gonna have to anyways. But, you know, sometimes that is what you have to do, and a lot of businesses don't like listening to that, but those are only, you know, bad businesses. Businesses evolving to a new era, a new thing, and if you don't adapt to it, you know, you're going to die pretty soon. So yeah, that's usually what I do when it comes to sales and all of that. And I usually, when they tell me to sell something as well, that was my approach when I was there and on the interview, and they were really impressed, because I sold them on the products that maybe they wouldn't have, you know, thought about buying. Maybe this guy had already a fixed mentality, and he was like, well, I can see that you do know what you're talking about, you are passionate about this, and you'll be a pretty good fit for our team. So I was like, yep, you know, thank you, I appreciate the good feedback back as well. And yeah, I didn't think I did too bad. And it's not that I'm not trying to sell people what they want, but sometimes, you know, people don't really know what they want, so you're iffy, or they haven't done their homework, and it's up to you to give them their best fit, because that's how they're gonna have the most fun. And then, like I tell them, like, if you guys want me to sell product at any time, I can do it. You know, I can do it. I can come in and tell them, you know, this is the best deal, or we are gonna put this on sale, you'll take this instead of that. I can do that too. I prefer not to, but I could do it too. And I told them, and if that's what the company wants, and that's what you want to be, you know, known for, then, you know, you guys let me know, I'll get it done. But I don't know if I'll be able to last, you know, too long if that's the case, because to me it feels like I'm cheating people out of stuff. So yeah. So hopefully you guys do take away from it. And now going back to the interview process, like I said, keep it clean, keep it short, keep it to the point, and make sure that every accomplishment, every form of experience that you talk about has something to do with the work and the company that you're working for. You already did your homework, you know what you're gonna go and say, you know what's gonna help them out, you know what they're looking for. It's just up to you to do it. Keep that eye contact. Always, you know, shake their hands at first, shake them at the end, even if they don't offer you anything right then and there. You know, always stay true to everything. Go well dressed. Always go well dressed. It doesn't matter what you apply to. And, you know, be impressive, but don't over brag. People that over brag, they lose them, because they're like, he said that he accomplished all of this, but that has nothing to do with our business and what he's gonna be doing. You know, it's nice, but it's got nothing to do with it. And then you go into those people that say too little. Don't say too little, don't say too much. Just make sure you answer the question. You say your experience, your accomplishments, and how it's gonna help out. and they'll connect the dots of whatever it's left. You'll get a good interview, and more than likely you'll get you'll get the job at the spot almost all the time. So hopefully this was helpful for some of you guys, and if you guys are working on sales and stuff like that, hopefully that piece of advice was helpful. You know, just let it come out of you, and people will know. People know if you're genuine or if you're faking it. So I don't know, just keep all of that in mind, and hopefully you guys do get the jobs and all of that you guys want. And but it's a process though. You gotta build that experience, you gotta build that career portfolio up before you can start making those big bucks. And it doesn't matter what you work at before, as long as you're getting that experience, that's what they're after. So make sure you use that experience wisely, and tell them how. Like, you might have been a waiter, you're going to a big corporation, tell them how that experience is going to help you out, and they'll hire you, because they're just looking for the experience and a good fit. So thank you guys, hopefully you guys leave a comment and all of that, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you, bye.